money, money. Money, money, money. We got that fly, need money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. Money, 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 money. We got that fly, Nubian money. We talk about that money. We all about that money. We love our black skin, our melanin, always focusing in on that money. We always win, money never thin, 'cause we hustling, always focusing in money, 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 money. We got that money, 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 money. We that fly Nubian money, boss talk, only we stack it up.
Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. So today we have a very interesting conversation. We are discussing the real cost of employee neglect, how workplace pressure, low wages, and poor conditions hurt not only the workers, but also cost the companies. We're looking at a warehouse worker accused of burning down an entire facility and asking what kind of financial and mental pressure leads someone to this point. We're also talking about an Amazon worker who reportedly collapsed and died on the job, while employees say they were told to keep working like nothing happened. So now we have to ask, what happens when people feel overwhelmed, underpaid, and completely disposable? Because at some point, that pressure doesn't just sit quietly. It shows up in ways companies can't ignore. And today, I am here with some amazing queens that have this conversation. We have Miss Yolanda, who is the broker to the stars. And guess what? She can insure your pinky toe, okay? Right. And we have Minister Connie today. Listen, today, y'all, we are the three-piece spicy. So you guys heard of this topic. When you heard of this, what did you think? I'm gonna start with you, Connie.
Well, you know what? By me being an employer, that was, it's like I don't know what to say, especially with the Amazon workers. If that would have happened, I would have closed down for the rest of the afternoon because people have feelings and they're sensitive. If I see someone drop dead, I'm going to go over there and assist them as much as I can, and find out what I can do to help them to see if they're alive or they just passed out or whatever. But to tell people to go back to work, we do have feelings, So that was not good management right there. Yeah. Not at all.
I agree with you. It gets to the point where you kind of think about like what people have no compassion and no empathy.
Yes.
Like, that is traumatic. And being in healthcare, I do deal with death and dying a lot, right?
Yes.
As a nurse, I've worked in different areas. It's traumatic. Even when you're prepared for it, it's traumatic. And so in the middle of the workday and something happens and somebody just falls out and dying, you just say, hey, just go back to work. Like, that's a lot to process. We're going to make money, right? Give people time to process it. So it was just disheartening to hear that, they just made them go right back to work. Yolanda, what were you thinking when you heard of it?
Not surprised at all. But also the first thing I thought about was they're trying to make a robot society. Okay. They're trying to program us and condition us into thinking, oh, workers are just not going to cut it in the future. So this is the reason why we want to bring robots around, because they are durable, they hardly break, and they will do the job when you can't. So I really think this is on a deeper level conditioning. They're conditioning us for the future. Yeah. I think they also create an insensitive society. Yeah.
I agree with that, because you got to think about it. Robots don't have emotions, right?
Right.
Robot to do it. Somebody dropped it, something happened, something break. They not gonna have nothing, no emotions attached to it. They just get back to work. But a human, they feel away. They're like, hey, I'm sad. I'm devastated. And if somebody had a relationship with this person, can you imagine how they feel? And they just had to go right back to work like nothing happened. And then let's take it a step further. How would you feel as an employee if you drop dead and they say, okay, that person dead, we removed the body, now let's go back to business as usual? Like
that happened at my job before, Dominique.
Really?
Yes, I was working in a call center. A young lady put her head down because she had a headache and she never woke up, and she was there until the janitor found her at that night.
Wow.
It happened. Wow. And you know what? I felt like one of my friends asked, like, what did you do? And I'm like, I'm so conditioned not making friends with coworkers. That's how I was back in the day. Like, you do not make friends with coworkers. I did, but but in her case, I just wasn't her friend. So I didn't go over there. I'm thinking that she was asleep. I didn't want to bother her. Everybody else did the same thing. And we all just left. And she was just there until like 7 p.m. until a janitor found her body.
Wow. I think for me as a nurse, it would have alerted me. If somebody's in the same position and they haven't moved and they're still there, like, I don't see like, I just do it automatically. I'm looking chest rising and falling, like, are you breathing? I'm making sure. I would have, even if I didn't have a relationship, I would just look at the person because I'm just conditioned to do it. I'm
the vital signs.
Yeah, I'm like, that person been sitting there for like 4 hours. That's not normal. So I would have picked up on it like, hey, I know we ain't cool, because I agree with you with the workplace thing. We ain't really friends in here per se. But it's just sad that I don't feel like we're valued as employees. Overall. It's like, hey, back to business per usual. I think we have a video for us to watch.
Producer, roll that video. Let's go.
And the minute I start talking, the video is going to come on.
I know, right? So let's get to the next question.
Next question.
Well, you know what? I want to disagree on that. Okay. Because I'm an employer and I employ about 50 people, and I'm very sensitive. I have an open door policy, and I treat my employees like they're my family, because the thing is that without them, I'm not a company.
Correct.
So I really do. I go out my way. I throw parties. I do a lot of surprising things for them. So, because I really appreciate my employees. And when they're going through something, by me being a minister, they could call me and we'll talk over the phone, pray, and whatever. Or if somebody passed away, I try to be there with food, flowers, whatever. Yeah. So everyone does not, but I'm not a $1 billion company either. I don't have the money like that.
Mr. Connie, I have 2 employees, and they are like my son and my daughter. They are my son and my daughter, and we are very close. The other day, my assistant, she was sick. She did not feel too good. I'm like, girl, I got this. Go lay down, take the rest of the day off, and I paid her still. She was shocked. I'm like, girl, look, I know how that is, Get some rest and come back refreshed.
Exactly.
Yeah. And let me ask you both a question, since you guys have employees. When you treat your employees like that, how do you feel they feel? Like, how is the relationship? How is the work environment?
They love me.
Yeah, they go out their way for me. They really
go out their way for me.
They go out of their way for me. Yeah. And at Christmas time, my birthday time, I feel like, they really appreciate me. They bring me stuff. Mostly they bring me gift cards and flowers, and it's just so much appreciated. So I do feel that I do get it back in other ways. So they do.
Because when you take care of people, they'll take care of you. And I keep telling people this: take care of people, especially your people. They will take care of you in return.
Yes, they will.
I think sometimes, we have these cultures and environments, or these cultures in workplaces, because they feel like if I'm nice to you, then you won't do your job. And I will beg to differ, because I believe that even with both of your employees, they don't just do their job, they go above and beyond, because they look at this like, this is not just work, this is a family. And we're a family that, work together. We take care of each other. And when you take care of people, like you said, Yolanda, people take care of you. They go above and beyond to make sure that all this is running smoothly. They'll
That's
go
right.
the extra mile because you
Right.
take care of them and they feel valued but they're still going to do. They
Exactly.
understand that there's accountability. They understand that
Yes,
there's still a job
definitely.
to do, but I can still be nice. I can still hold you accountable, and I can still have some emotions and empathy and compassion towards you more than just you being somebody that's employed by me, but somebody that's
Exactly.
like family. I can
And
pour into you and I can give to you.
And it
Right.
goes further than that, Dominique. It goes to like if you're on vacation, like for instance, when I go on vacation, I always carry little $5 bills with me because I'm tipping. Okay. I'm taking that
Yes.
extra money and I'm tipping people. And let me tell you, that sucker comes back. When my
Yeah.
maids come into the room, they see that $5. It's not a lot of money, right? But $5 is going to buy them a cup of coffee. They clean my room as if I'm just stepping into
Hmm.
that room day one. They
Yeah.
appreciate it. So they take the extra time with my stuff. And the same thing with the valet parker and just
Hmm.
anyone who you come into service with, they are working. Tip them, show them some love. They will show
Yes.
love back.
Yeah.
That's right. You tip them. I went
Yeah.
to a restaurant one time, and it was just at Denny's, and I had my breakfast came to maybe about $12. I gave the girl $20, and ever since then, I walk in, everybody want to wait on me, because I tipped
Yeah.
real well,
They know you
and they
tipping.
was like, she was like, "Thank you." And one time I tipped a young man. He was working. I tipped him $50, and he came back and he said, I was praying this morning because I did not have enough money to get back and forth to work this week. He said, "What you gave me is going to help me to get back to work." The Lord told me to do it. I was just sitting there, and the Lord said, "Give him $50." And I had it, and I gave it to him. But he came back and told me his story. So you never know what somebody's going through. Never know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Exactly.
it costs nothing to be nice. It
Right.
costs nothing
Right.
to have compassion for people and care. It
Right.
costs nothing. So I think she may be ready with a video.
Okay.
You ready, girl,
Great.
producer? Maybe she's not.
Okay. So I do have some questions to ask. So at what point does workplace stress become dangerous? Minister Connie, that one's for you.
Okay. Well, I used to be a career advisor and at a technical school. And when it becomes dangerous, when you have men, mostly it was a men's trade. So I had all men there, and um, I was the career advisor, and I didn't let this one guy go on an interview. He just wanted to practice interview. But this company was called Newport News. They were shipping. They would bring you down there, interview you, and everything, pay for your hotel. He wanted to practice, and I wouldn't let him go. He jumped in my face and wanted to fight me because I told him I wasn't going to put him on the list.
Oh
And
wow.
so I told him, I said, "If you don't get out of my face," I said, "it's not going to be nice." I said, "Get out of my face." I'm talking, he's like this. And he was like invading my space. So um, he went and told my manager. And when we had a meeting, once we got done, and I told him, I said, "I'm not wasting company's money for him to practice." And so the management agreed with me, but he did not like me. And so I watched my back with that. You do, especially when we work with certain kind of people, you got to be very, very careful. But by me being a woman in a male dominant environment, I just did not take down for anything. I was just as tough as they were,
Yeah.
just because they were men. And I didn't want them to think that I was timid. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily dangerous. Well, it did become dangerous, not physically dangerous, but I used to work for a home care agency and it was just extremely stressful. It was a horrible work culture. And I had a good friend that actually came in and she went to church with me and she was like a little sister to me. And so I ended up leaving because it was just too overwhelming. It was too stressful. It was just too much going on from inside out. It was just horrible.
Wow.
She ended up staying on the job. and it stressed her out so bad. And I feel horrible to this day because she was reaching out to me on social media. Well, I didn't check my messages at the time like that. You know, she was so stressed out, she ended up committing suicide.
Oh, wow.
A
You
young
know,
lady in her 20s.
wow, that's a shame. You know, because I have a home care agency, and we did I did medical, I had a personal care home, and we did non-medical. And the thing is, it can be stressful, but one thing I have found, whatever's going on at the top in management, it funnels down. I don't
Yeah.
care. When you walk in a place, you should know. When they walk in my place, they feel calm. They feel peace. Because
Yeah.
I pray over my employees. I pray at every meeting. We have prayer, and we pray for everyone in the field and everything. And the thing is that I don't want to come to work with people being stressed and me being stressed. I don't care what happened here in my house or what's going on in my life. I do not take it to work.
Yeah.
It's not fair to other people. Do not take whatever you're going through to work. You know,
Yeah.
leave that.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
We lost Minister Connie.
okay. So I'm gonna, while she's gone, I'm gonna bring that question to you.
You know what I think? I think when the company does not properly ensure that the workers are okay, okay, when they're understaffed, that brings a lot of stress on everybody. And then you're forced to sit there and work long hours, okay, for hardly any pay. And you're missing out on just the quality of your life. And your life quality means everything, especially these days. You need family time, you need time alone, you need time outside of the office. But these businesses, they don't give a damn. They will work you until your bones fall out your body. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the truth. And I think that they don't think about the financial implications, right?
they do not.
If people are not happy, think about the turnover rate, which means that you're always onboarding new people and you're not really making money, or people don't want to work, or people are going out on FMLA. They don't realize the financial implications to the behavior, right?
Correct.
You think you're thinking about the bottom line, these corporations, but you're really not, because if you have a high turnover, people are leaving and they're leaving chronically, they're going out on FMLA, you're not really making money because you can't maximize. So I
Correct.
think that you have to look at this from a different perspective. But I think that we are ready for a video now.
Okay. Let's see. Producer. Wind that video, girl. Where's she at? So, girl, like I was saying, right? Dominique.
But I do think we
Yeah,
do have to think about this financial piece, because
we do.
these companies are thinking about this. They're so rigid, right? And you got to
Right.
be this way, and you got to do this, and you have to do that. But you're not going to make money. What are your thoughts about that in terms of the costs related to the lack of compassion or not caring about your employees?
I think it relates back to slavery. Straight up. These
Yeah.
white men who run these corporations, they making slaves out of everybody, even their own people. And they still have like this master slave mindset. They don't give a damn about your feelings, they don't care about nothing. They don't care about your family. They don't care. They just don't care. Okay. So they have this mindset where they're just going to work you down again till your bones fall out your body. And
Yeah.
that's that. But on the flip side, it does make them lose money because we're just humans. This is why I said at the beginning of the show, I really think all of this is being set up for a robot workforce,
Yeah.
especially if you're working in the Amazon warehouse and other places like that. They were setting us up. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're working in fast food, a few months ago, we did a show about a woman who managed a fast food restaurant on her own. I don't know if you heard about that story, Dominique.
No.
This little lady was in there flipping burgers, handling the cashier. She was just doing everything all by herself. Okay. And I'm like looking at this, like, first of all, it's violating all kind of laws. All right, OSHA laws and everything.
Safety,
Yeah,
health.
safety laws, right? Health, because you're supposed to have a certain amount of people on a shift at a fast food restaurant. But she was there all by herself. And do you know, At the end of the day, they fired her. They fired her.
That's
And
crazy.
it was sick. I was like, how did, like, anywho. So my point is, they fired a good worker. Okay. They didn't want to pay her what she was worth. And eventually these corporations are going to lose money at the bottom line. But then again, if they do put robots in our place and we continue to support them by buying their products, because we all Amazon head. I know I'm an Amazon head. Okay.
I am too. I am.
Amazon is my man right now. He comes every day. All right. On time. All right. So because of that, if we continue to support them, we're feeding into the machine.
Yeah.
We're feeding into the preparation of what's to come.
Yes. What about the stores? You're going to Walmart, you're going to Jewel's. Now they have it where you're checking your stuff out. I don't want to check myself. I don't want to check myself
I don't
out.
work here.
Yeah. And they're setting it up and they're eliminating regular aisles and they're putting all those self-checkouts all over the place because you're right. They are setting us up. You could walk out the door with your card at some places and it just
Yes, you can
charge your card.
Wow.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's all being set up for a digital robot society. This is another reason why they do not want us to have feelings towards each other, because robots don't have feelings. Their ass break down. They just get another component and keep on ticking. We can't replace our heart, kidneys, and stuff on the drop of a dime. We can't do that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go over here to the comments. Walter McLeod said it's always the bottom line. I worked at a retail store. Pharmacists had an app. And then
that's crazy. Just getting
says, Yolanda, I truly agree with you. Your quality of life is everything. And that's absolutely true. Booker 1138 said, yep, high turnover is common in call centers. Double A 82. Yep. I remember that. She worked at BK. I think she's talking about the lady that you were talking about. So
yep.
She worked at Okay. That was actually my very first job, Burger King.
Oh, it was?
Very first job at 14. And then yep, that and then let's see. Let's go over here. We were taught our identity involves or revolves around the more we do, the more value we are, which is crazy. It's the truth. Like we were taught to work.
Yeah.
Work, give more and receive less. You don't ask for nothing. You just keep working and then they'll eventually see your work. I find that the more you work, the more they give you to work. So the more you're able to complete, the more they're going to give you to complete, because why not? Like you can handle it. So I'm going to keep giving you more and I'm going to keep giving you more.
And on a metaphysical level, they feel like you don't have respect for yourself. If you really think about it, they feel you do not have respect for yourself and you'll just take whatever you give them. That's when you have to set boundaries. We have to learn how to set boundaries now. And the boomers and the Generation X, which is my generation, we were forced into thinking that the more we do, the more, just self-sacrifice. But these young ones, they're like, hell no. These millennials and Zoomers, they're like, hell no. Can't see
they figured it, because I'm like, how y'all surviving? Like I needed a job, but they have figured out how to make it out.
Yeah.
Job in a minute. They're not staying. They're like, I'm not doing this no more.
Because they realized their worth. That's what it was. We had a lot of programming around us. We were programmed to perform a certain way. These little ones now, they're like, oh no, like they know their worth.
Yeah, they're not tolerating
it like that.
They're not tolerating it at all. They move around, they move forward, and then you have our generation, that are afraid to speak up. I can't afford to lose I'm afraid I can't lose my job, and then also I know I was taught, like my dad's like, you get a job, you stay on there for 30 years. And like even being a nurse, eventually I want to transition out completely from nursing and I want to do real estate full time. And my dad's like, well, you really want to do that? I'm like, yes. First of all, there's nothing holding me there. I don't have a pension and I'm in a great position. I'm a registered nurse. I can go work. If things fall, fall through and it doesn't work out, I can go work anywhere. And so I want to take a risk, but I never really thought about taking a risk because we were taught to bank on these jobs as opposed to trying something else. My kids are getting older, and again, I can go get a job tomorrow. So why not?
Right.
Why not? You know, AI is not doing nothing with healthcare, not for real. Like, you're going to need humans. And so us being willing to take a risk, I think that changes things too. Us not settling, this new generation that's coming that's saying like, no, I'm not sitting there. I bet you if one of them, these new generations was there with the Amazon person, they would have left. Like, I'm not staying here. I'm leaving. This is traumatic.
Yeah, this is traumatic. Yeah.
I don't care if I lose me because they don't care that much.
Yeah. As they should.
As
Because
they should.
You know what? One thing I like about the new generation, they're teaching us how to have boundaries. Straight up. They're telling us what we should and should not be tolerated. Now, of course, we should have reason within that, okay? Because some things they do, I'm like, girl, pipe it down. It's not that serious. But they are teaching us how to establish boundaries with these employers. So,
yeah, because a lot of them are still at home.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another thing. They have the freedom to not.
They have, because children, young adults is not leaving the nest as we did. We wanted to be out and on our own. But you know what? I have always been one to speak up about something that I was never comfortable with. And so therefore, I used to be called, I was very, what is that when you standoffish?
Were you the black sheep of the
I was
family?
the only black in that department, but I had a voice. I had a voice, yeah. So, and everywhere I worked, I was always the minority. It was only one. It was always me. But those are the kind of jobs I got. But all those jobs
Same
taught
here.
me how to run my own company.
Yeah.
Nothing's wasted. Nothing's ever wasted. And I used to say, Lord, why am I here? Because being a career advisor at that school, it was very hard. I was the only black person that was in management other than a couple of teachers, but it was not really easy in talking about giving you more work. There was 3 people in my department. I worked so hard because it was on performance. I worked them out of their jobs. I was the only one running the whole school.
Wow.
And they didn't give me a raise, but I was able to the bonus system and things like that. I was able to make more money, and I really knew how to do it, and I did it. So, um, but yeah, I went through quite a bit there. But it taught me that I had administrative skills that was like, wow. I didn't know I had them
Yeah.
until I was forced to take on the management position and everything. I did the whole thing. So I was like, wow, I got some skills. So sometimes things like that is not always bad because it will teach you what you're made of.
Yeah. So Jasmine just said in response to you, she said, beautifully said, Minister Connie, nothing is wasted. So I think we
Nothing.
have some stats right now. About 60% of workers say they feel emotionally drained from their job. Nearly 1 in 3 workers report high levels of stress on a daily basis.
Mm.
Workplace stress costs U.S. companies more than $3 billion a year, and absentees, I can't get it out, turnover and reduced productivity.
Absenteeism.
Thank you. Companies with high turnover can spend up to 2 times an employee's salary to replace them. Low-wage workers are more likely to report unsafe and high-stress working conditions.
And that's sad.
It's sad. It shouldn't be like that. So a question to you, Yolanda, do you think companies really understand the pressure that their workers are under?
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't give a damn. It's about the money. That's it. When these board people sit in a like for instance, I heard a rumor going around in Amazon, for instance, they were like, if you can't like perform, or if you don't have a certain, I don't know what goes on in the warehouse, but if you can't have like a certain amount of orders in, for instance, you get fired. And they said that the amount of orders they were trying to fulfill on a daily basis was impossible to do for humans to do. And you think the Amazon execs cared? No, they replaced those employees with someone who could do the job. That was it. All right.
Yeah.
This is why I said we're getting set up for the robots. Straight
Yeah.
up. They
Yeah.
coming. Go learn a trade. Go do some plumbing, some electrical, some things that these robots can't do. Nursing,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you want to be in the workforce, or learn how to program them suckers so that when they break down,
Mm.
you'll know how to fix them. How about
Yep.
that?
Now, but the thing about robots, if if the system goes, if the grid goes down, nothing's going to be processed. You know, at work we have some problems, technical problems. It takes us out for the whole day. Sometimes
Yeah,
it takes you out for the whole week.
yeah.
So I don't see that going to happen in the next few years because yeah, I don't see it. I don't.
It's a
Maybe
process.
I'm gone. Maybe I'll be gone when that happens. But I don't see it. Right now, you can't even call the phone company. I have this one talk system. It's junk. It's through Verizon. I can't stand the system. I'm looking for something else because their systems are always going down, and when it goes down, it affects my business. Our main number was going to a person's cell phone. And I was like, our phones is not ringing all week. And I'm paying a hefty bill. Verizon is not cheap. I'm laying in the bed. I'm like, Lord, I don't know what's going on. I called my number just out of random. I had the sense to call my office. I called. It's a person's cell phone. Cell phone. They only gave us $100 credit for maybe we would have been out maybe 2 weeks. I don't even know. But our phones wasn't ringing. I was like, that's weird. So therefore, I don't see that happening immediately. She was saying something about some kind of system. Their system went down, and when it went down, it just made everything haywire.
There's
Haywire.
a
So
possibility that grids will go down, but they're not anticipating grids are going to be down 365 days a year, you know? So if it does go down twice a year, they're willing to take that risk. They are.
well,
And I foresee robots coming within the next 2 to 3 years. I know you said not, but within the next 2 to 3 years, because they're already prepping us. If you go into other countries and you look at what's going on, they got robot security guards now, surveillance in places. All right.
I
So
haven't
it's
seen any. So, and
all they have self-driving
I travel around
cars
the world.
now in certain states. They
Mhm.
have you can order Uber Eats and all kinds of other delivery things, and little robot things come right to your house and deliver it to you. You just put a code in and it opens up, you know? So those things are
Yeah,
being
I did
they're,
see
they're
that.
being at play right
Mhm.
now. And I think within the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see more and more and more of it. And then we're going to get used to it. Within 10 years, this society will have more robot workers probably than regular workers. And I'm only talking about like in a warehouse and
Uh,
McDonald's and restaurants and things like that.
Possible. That could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And
So I,
you know what? I don't put nothing past anything anymore. I take it as it comes. That's
Yes.
how you gotta
This
live
is the
now.
future.
You gotta
The
take it as
future
it
is
comes.
here.
Yeah.
yeah. Walter McLeod in the comments, he said, in warehouses and factories is production, production, production.
Yeah.
That's,
And they want, and let me tell you, we are a consumer society. We are buying more, 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 more. Okay. I'm part of the problem. All right.
Yeah.
So I know that they need more people to put out those orders. And someone said quota. Thank you. That's what they have to meet, a certain quota. If you
a
can't reach that
quota. Yeah.
quota, you
Mhm.
out. You're
Right.
out.
Right. Even
So
at the banks, I
yeah,
used to be a statistical, I used to open up checking accounts. So I'll do like this. And I didn't even look at the numbers because, and I'm doing like this. I'm keying the amounts in of deposits and stuff. This is what I did all day. And I had to have a limited amount of mistakes and I had to have so many done. So that's been That's been like 25 years ago that
Yeah,
I had a quota of how many checks and deposits I could do in a night when I
yeah.
worked. Yeah. So,
So I'm going to kind of switch gears. What do
Mhm.
you think the responsibility the companies have in people's mental health? I'm gonna start with you, Yolanda.
Okay. The company technically does not have a responsibility. All right, technically, because look, you just come in there to work for them. They don't give a damn if you're crazy or not. All right, but if they want to retain employees and keep humans on and make sure they have a really great working environment, they should be responsible for employees' mental health. All right. I remember 20 years ago, sometimes like if a coworker would die, they'll like hire a grief counselor for people to go and talk to and things like that. Or if there was like a big world situation that had people like 9/11, for instance, that had people up in the arms and like scared, they would encourage us to go seek a grief counselor or have somebody come in and talk to us. They don't have that anymore. They don't have because these people do not care. They are prepping you for an unkind, unfeeling world, which is why we're always on our phones. We don't have any contact with each other. They're prepping us for this. All
Yeah.
right. So to answer your question, they really don't have a duty to us. I personally feel that we should take our health, our mental health in our own hands. All right. If you're feeling stressed, y'all, go seek a counselor. All right. There's nothing wrong with that. Seek outside help. Do you always,
Yeah.
always.
mhm.
Yeah.
Don't rely on your company to give you the help that you know you need because they're not going to do it. You're just a number and you're just there to collect a check. That's it.
Yeah. And the companies that do offer resources, they don't advertise it. So you don't really know they're there. So some
Right.
companies have like EAP programs where you get so
Hmm.
many free counseling services. They address mental health. They do all of
Yeah,
that because
they
I
do.
realized it myself, but they don't advertise that. It's
Yeah.
something that like, I found out about it, not from my company, but somebody else saying that a lot of these companies have it available. You just have to call the mental health number on the back of
Hmm.
your cards. So sometimes a lot of times they have it, but they're not going to let you know that they have it,
Hmm.
because again, that does cost them money, but they want to say, we have this program available to you, but they're not talking about it. They're not saying, hey, this is a program, you should utilize it. This is what you need. This is what you should do because utilizing it costs them money. But
Yeah.
oftentimes, and I'm just saying this so people know that, if you call that mental health number on the back of your insurance card, you will see if they have services available to you. And then sometimes people are afraid to use the EAP program because they think that it's directly associated with their job and then they're going to know what's going on with them and people don't want them in their business. Well,
Hmm.
there
Girl,
are
I was about to say that.
yeah, there are HIPAA laws in place. Unless it's jeopardized, like if you're going in there saying you're going to shoot up the place, yes, they have to say something, right? But they
Yeah.
Hmm.
can't say anything. So I think people need to get that out their mind as well. So Yolanda, same question to you. What do you think the responsibility for people's mental health in terms of the company is?
That's Reverend Minister Connie.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, you know what? I have a mental health clinic. So, therefore, we as Black people, we do not seek counseling. When I went through a time where I had lost a child and then my 2-year-old passed away in 90 days, I lost it. I was crazy as a
So
bat. I
sad.
really was. I was going through the baby blues and I was going through grief. Did not have enough sense because I didn't want nobody to know that I was suffering. But I had built a wall and I was in there suffering. And I was so deep down in there. So when my associate wanted to open up this mental health clinic, I said yes, because we do not seek it. I think it's a good thing. And to go back to what we was talking about on the back of the card, we are not, as a clinic, we can't even let people know who's coming there. At 16-year old, you can seek counseling, and if your parents call in, we cannot tell them anything.
yeah,
So there is a lot of privacy in that because of HIPAA. So if you want to seek help, seek it. and it will not get back to your employer. You have to sign off on that document to say, yes, I want to share this with that specific person. If it's not in your file, they could call all day. They're not going to find out anything because it's against the law. So seek help if you need it, no matter what. But there is a lot of stress in just in daily living. You know, it's like we're on a treadmill all the time. Don't you feel like
Mhm.
the day goes by like this? You
Yes,
know, you
yes,
get up, you wake up, and within a couple minutes, it's like a whole half an hour has passed by, and you it feel like you're running all the time.
Yeah.
So when you have children, you have a family, and you have a job, and you got to take care of yourself, that's a lot of responsibility. That's a whole lot of moving. So therefore, just being self-care is very, very important. Self-care. Learn how to step back and just let things happen
Yeah.
because it's going to happen anyway. What can you do? If an emergency happens in my family, they could call, if they can't reach me and they need to go to a hospital, they need to, my girlfriend say, you need to call on Jesus or call 911. One or the other. That's what you need to do. And that's so true. What can I do? I can't do anything.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So I have another question. So what happens when a person is they're burned out at their job, but they can't afford to quit? What is some
Ooh, ooh,
to
that
get,
was me.
and there's a lot of people that's in that situation that they're so unhappy. They're treated horribly on these jobs, but they cannot afford to go anywhere. They don't even have the confidence to speak up for themselves because they're afraid that if they lose this horrible job, they're in trouble. So, Minister Connie, what advice would you give them? Like, what would you tell them?
I was in that position. I
Yeah.
prayed I said, Lord, bless me somewhere else. And what happened, I was self-employed. Now, it was very hard to step out of that paycheck, but we should not be attached to anything. Because
Exactly.
when you become attached to something, it's hard to give it up. But I had to pray myself out of that job to move on. And I am financially and much, much better. Sometimes you just need a friend or someone to encourage you and to speak into you. That's what I needed. I just needed someone to speak into me about my situation and what I need to go, because a lot of people wasn't in that position. They was happy, in their position or whatever, if they didn't complain about it. But I had to pray about it. When you don't have no one to speak to you or speak into you, speak into yourself. That's why I do every morning. I tell myself certain things every day because you got to speak to yourself on certain things. But I had to move out of that. And the thing is, you position yourself.
Yeah,
Stop your spending. Stop spending recklessly. Make sure your bills, you have at least 6 months to 1 year savings before you do that. See, I did that. I jumped out with both feet into business and was drowning the first month. Stupid. But you learn from mistakes, and that's why I'm telling people now, make sure you, even if you have up to a year of savings for emergency while you're making that transition. Don't just do it. While you are planning, make a plan financially also. Now, if this don't happen, have a A, B, and a C.
yeah. I agree with that. I think that you have to step back for a moment, right? Because we get consumed in how we're feeling. Step
Right,
back and put a plan in place
right,
and kind of figure out, like, even if it means taking, your vacation. Oftentimes people don't use their vacation. Take your vacation time and put a plan in place to help you successfully transition to your next place, right? We get
right,
so overwhelmed and we get emotionally boggled down that we can't really evaluate our situation and we can't even see what other opportunities are out there for us. But if we
right.
if we step back, take your time, we have PTO, take your time and
Mm-hmm.
really evaluate your situation, put a plan in place, and also start focusing on being grateful, right? One thing that I love
Grateful.
when you're in these places, having a heart of gratitude can help you see the other side. When you don't feel good and you're overwhelmed and everything is negative, you can't see the potential positive that's right there. And when you have that mindset of gratitude and you put a plan in place and then you start implementing that plan, what does it look like? You're applying for so many jobs a week. You're doing X, Y, and Z to get you to that next point. So I agree with you, Minister Connie. Yolanda, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is this. Look, I was the queen of unemployment when I was young. Okay, queen. All right. I ain't like your ass. I quit. On the real. I had high stress jobs and I didn't like it. And I used to always evaluate what can I do to make myself better. So either if I'm in a high stress job, I went to school so that it could give me some type of mental outlet that this is going to be over soon. I'm going to be where I need to be. And I did, I used to force myself, a force of fire. Okay. So coming in late, not working, doing crazy stuff so that the employers could fire me so that I could take a mental break. Because that's how I did it back in the day. I'm being honest with y'all, okay? I know you probably can't do that right now because of the way everything is set up. But back in my day, in the 90s and early 2000s, that's what I did. And I was able to survive because unemployment took care of my rent. And like Minister Connie said, I pulled back. I didn't spend money on dumb stuff. I made sure that I had a budget for food. You know, I didn't go out. I didn't do a lot of things because I knew I didn't have the income. I was just concerned with paying my rent, making sure that, you know, a roof was over my head. Unemployment was my friend, but I didn't just do unemployment, y'all, because that's irresponsible. I always set myself up for the next level. I always leveled up. That's just what I did. So while I was on unemployment, I made sure that I went to school, got some certificates, made sure that I was working towards my degree. A lot of things so that I could better myself for my future. I always did that. But yeah, unemployment was my best friend.
You know, I have never, ever used unemployment.
What? I did it once. One
That's
time.
the American way.
Fired from a job. I have never been fired from a job. That OCD in me would never even let me get to that point. I would leave before I got to the point that I would get fired. I've never ever been fired from a job.
Well,
it's the art of being detached from jobs, places, and things. You know, be detached from that. You don't own the company. I think I'm attached to Michael Whitney and Associates because I own a company, but I'm not attached to anything I don't own.
Yeah, but you got to think about that's the mindset that we have. I was programmed to feel that way. I was programmed like you don't lose a job because if you lose a job, you can't get a job. Now my mindset is different.
Oh, I always thought
you can't get a job, and I have a business now. You know, so I have a different my mindset is different. But I never have just because you know I just never lost. I've never tapped into unemployment at all.
Yeah, girl, I was like, cancel that bitch. I'll get another one.
I did one time because the job, I left the job, started another job, and then he put me on unemployment to help me out while I built my business. And awesome. Wasn't that wonderful? He paid into my unemployment so that I could start my business that he helped me with. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I like
very gracious man. Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So Miss Producer says she
should have paid us enough to fucking live. You know, we may not get paid enough to fucking live, but these bitches dirt cheap. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. There goes your inventory.
Wow.
Woo! The crazy part about it is we're going to see more. We're going to start seeing more of this type of stuff. I mean, we're seeing it happen. But you're going to see more of this type of stuff because people are losing it mentally, you know, because when you're struggling financially And and I think about even when I'm working with people in real estate and they're looking for homes and the price of homes and what they can afford monthly, it's just not realistic. And
It's
people
not.
are going to lose it. And I don't care how financially responsible they are. I don't care what happens. People are barely making it financially. And then to go into these jobs and to be treated so poorly, we're going to start seeing more of this, and it's unfortunate, but we're going to start seeing more of this. When you saw the video, Yolanda, just a video now, what were your thoughts?
A white boy will always do it. And those suckers, they be off hinge. They want what they want. They feel they root everybody. Okay, so if they don't get what they want, they burn it. Everybody won't eat. Everybody won't eat. Exactly.
Burn it down.
They will burn it down. Yeah. So I mean, like you said, I really think that more incidents like that will happen. I'm not necessarily saying that it needs to happen, but that must be a wake-up call to these corporations, okay? Because they're paying their CEOs so much money. If they could just shave off $1 million of that little money they paying the CEOs, they can give their employees a living wage. That's what they're not. I don't understand that concept. How you paying homeboy over here sitting in the chair all day $15 million just to sit there? And yet you're paying your warehouse worker $10 an hour.
And they can't afford to give you raises. They can't afford to give you bonuses, and they're getting raises and bonuses and some.
Exactly. So that was a wake-up call. It needed to have some things like that. A revolution needs to be televised. It needs to happen so that it can wake everybody up. Straight up.
Yeah. Minister Connie, what were your thoughts when you saw that video?
Wow, that guy was dangerous. So I wouldn't mess with him.
Oh no.
But the thing about it, whoever did it is going to go to jail, and they're never going to get out. And the restitution is going to be unreal. So you got to think, when you do something that drastic, you're hurting a whole lot of families. So it's this not that's a selfish act, because it's not just about you, it's other people that work there. People could have got killed. They're losing their income. You're displacing a whole lot of people. So before you do anything, you got to think about, what is this going to do to my family, and what is this going to do for my brother, my fellow worker. So I thought that's very selfish, very selfish.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're working with somebody.
Yeah. And you got to think about the mindset that you have to be that extreme. You are at the lowest of the low, where you don't even consider the consequences for your actions. Like you're in a bad place. Everything you said, Minister Connie, he's not thinking about any of that. He's like, look, y'all gonna pay. This company gonna pay. I'm sick of y'all. And so for him, it's just, this is what has to happen. It doesn't matter what the consequences look like.
Yeah. Well, once he get in it, he'll see. My mother used to say, it's easy to get in trouble. It's so hard to get out. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
So he's gonna, So he probably
out of him. They'll make an example out of him for sure.
Yes, they are.
That restitution
arson carries a heavy sentence.
It does.
It really does, because I know somebody that caught their house on fire for the insurance, and they got a lot of time. They won't see no streets for at least 30 years or more. Yeah, so you gotta, so just think what he's gonna get. They're gonna shut the door on him and say, "Oh no, you crazy. You'll burn something else out." So
yeah. Ladies, this was a good conversation. I enjoyed talking to you guys today. This was good. So we do have, before we close out, we have our International Black Woman fact that Miss Yolanda, the insurance broker to the stars, and she can insure your pinky toe, is gonna give us.
Yes. Gotta put my old lady glasses on. All right.
Take it away, girlfriend.
Rebecca Nongchong, Cameroon, a tech entrepreneur and founder of Axe Tech. Rebecca Nongchong has spent decades building digital infrastructures across Africa. She is. Oh, she's also a major advocate of entrepreneurship and fair business practices, pushing for systems where African talent can build wealth instead of being overlooked or underpaid. That's right, girl. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
love it.
wow.
She's also, oh,
Beautiful.
okay. Yeah, that's right, sis. I love
Mm.
that. I love
All
that.
right. So I know we've had a lot of conversation. So if you guys have any last thoughts, give us your last thoughts and let the people know where they can find you. I'm going to start with you, Minister Connie.
My last thoughts is that you got to take care of yourself. If you need mental health, seek it. Don't let no one stress you out. God did not make us to be stressed. First Peter 5:7 says to cast all of our cares upon him because he cares for us. So if he doesn't want us to carry the stress, don't let a person or company or job give you that stress. If you want to reach me, you could call. I was going to say, call me. You can reach me at ConnieSpearman.com. I also have a book called Lord, I Hear You, and it's also a journal. So you could reach me through there to get the book, or you could go on Amazon and get the book. So love you. Have a blessed weekend.
Thank
Take
you.
care of yourself. Yes.
All right, Miss Yolanda.
Yes. So my comment is this. This is the future. We're seeing a lot of these incidents happening because we are bringing in a society of robots, workers, and things of that nature. It's going to be a very tech-filled future,
Mhm.
and we just have to prepare for it. We should educate ourselves. And look, we're humans, especially us Black folk. Okay, I love us because we go around when people put obstacles in front of us, we go around that and we reinvent ourselves. Okay, we'll probably be in charge of the robots in the near future. Who knows? All right. So, anywho, just prepare yourself for the future. I'm Yolanda Spivey. I'm the broker, insurance broker. If you need anything insured, give me a call. You can reach me at mwhitney.com. And also, I'm across all social media platforms. And like Ms. Dominique said at the beginning of the show, I can insure your pinky toe. Okay. So give me a call. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So my final thoughts, I'm going to keep it brief, and I'm going to piggyback off of Minister Connie. We have to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, if you're in an environment where your peace is jeopardized, your mental health is jeopardized, you have
Mhm.
to make another move and never feel like you are at the mercy of another human being via this company. There are other opportunities out there. And like I was saying earlier, you have to step back, come from a place of gratitude, and think about all the great things that are happening in your life and think about
Mhm.
everything that you went through before. You made it through that, you'll make it through this as well. And so get around people that pour life into you. Network. There are opportunities out there. You're never stuck anywhere ever. So when you're thinking about that, take care of yourself and get around people that are going to pour into you and get out there. Your network is your network. There are other opportunities. So I am Dominique Morgan. You can reach me on all social media platforms at the Whitmore Group, and you can go to our website at thewhitmoregroup.com, and I can help you. I'm a real estate agent that can help you purchase anywhere throughout the United States. And so I wanted to just go to the comments real quick and just give a shout out to everybody that was in the comments. Y'all were live today. To Jasmine,
Mhm.
Walter McLeod, Debra Will Win, Double A 82. Thank you guys for
Yes.
just showing up and having some great conversation with you guys. We appreciate it. So as we go out, at the end of the day, this isn't just about extreme situations. It's about the environments that led up to them. When people feel overworked, underpaid, and ignored, it doesn't just disappear, it builds. And eventually, that pressure shows up in ways that affect everyone, including the company. So the real
Mhm.
question is not just what happened, but what kind of system allows this to happen in the first place? So if you want to get notifications we're live every week, Monday through Friday, you can text 8 Queens to 87948. And again, thank you guys for showing up. And I enjoyed my 3-piece spicy today.
Yeah.
Extra crispy, girl.
All right, you guys have a great weekend and thank you for tuning
Yes.
in.
Bye bye.
Bye. Happy Friday.